Greeting fellow YouTubers being behind the fourth wall, also known as YouTube. Hope you have an awesome day. I was talking about a concept with a friend of mine today when I was over at IHOP. By the way, that's an awesome place to go. You have the right server, it's nearly the perfect place to be, you know. So being deaf, a couple concepts went back and forth. Um, the concept of my original hearing aids are huge, by the way, which is why I have Dumbo ears when I'm not wearing a head wrap. Uh, Batteries last maybe a week or so. Now last longer. You know, with the advent of technology. Um, since this is the third or fourth generation, probably close to the fourth or fifth, but anyway, I can hear more with these than I did with my first one. Dumbo ears, I know. Before, I went upstairs with my dad and my stepmom, I would hear the ice drop on the ice machine. And recently, Thanksgiving, ours was at the day after. But anyway, my dad saw this was happening. I heard motor. Didn't know what it was because it was so loud. I don't really need to turn these all up that much. And then I heard the ice click, and where's that coming from? The advent of technology is awesome. But sorry. But the point that I'm trying to drive here is being deaf into all different levels of it. We rely on battery to hear. Now, even if we, and by that I mean the collective deaf, hearing impaired, whatever word you want to use, I honestly can say I would be deaf without these, or at least severely my range limited. Batteries, expensive. But without the batteries, I would be in a sleep-like state. Because, let's face it, those without battery hear stuff all the time. You take for granted. Like location where sounds are. You're so used to where these sounds are coming from. Perfect example I gave to her was if you were to drive on a bright and sunny day like it is today, no clouds, and say the sun's right in your face all day long, you can handle it for about an hour, maybe less. But learning new sounds or relearning sounds with each successive generation of hearing aids required quite a bit of a learning curve. I've been fortunate enough that I didn't have to learn much of it. It's like learning new sounds or learning more sounds than before. Case in point, previous, as I said before, with the kitchen with the ice maker. Couldn't hear that before. Another point, if those with better hearing than mine, which is anything better than moderate to severe. There's plenty of videos out there that would explain hearing loss versus, normal, wherever normal is, I don't believe it is. Moderate and severe with songs like the Flintstone, dialogue back and forth, Flintstone cartoon, whatever. As I said before, it's moderate to severe on mine. And batteries, I've gotten used to them. Those that have not needed to change the batteries, hearing batteries, or the way, what we get is this small battery, small or large, depending on what size it is, and then we have a tab on that. You take the tab off, and it activates the battery. You're supposed to wait a minute, but I don't. I put it in the hearing aid. With my case, it's like a slot. If you imagine the pivot point here, and then there's like a disc, and then I put it in that. Obviously, I have to take the other battery out, otherwise it won't work. Then the theory of clicks, and by that I mean positioned on, because with mine, you open the door fully, you take the battery out, then there's a half click, meaning it's securely in the hearing aid, but it is off. Full click inward turned it on. And the dual mirror technology, that is basically my upper meaning positive volume is on my right side, and I click that, so if I were to click it forward, both sides would adjust to the same volume, up or down. Down is on my left, obviously. But even that is a marvel, because when I had analog and then several generations in, when the digital, I would have to put them in, and I would have to adjust independently. Now I don't have to do that, which is awesome. It saves quite a bit of time. The only downside for me specifically, not so much downside, is just how it is. My left ear has to be amped up because that's my dominant side, and that battery wears out a lot faster for whatever reason. Okay, batteries aren't a problem, but in my case, I talked to my mom about various other things. But she was basically told me when she took me out of the Irish School for the Deaf at a very young age, my best friend died, and a lot of other stuff I'd rather not get into happened. So I went from an all-deaf school to what I would like to call the short bus, the special needs school, whatever it was, and then I went to public school, which any parent with kids that are tormented, that are deaf, you need to teach them how to deal with it, because kids are freaking mean when you're the only one that's obvious, visible, and audio challenge. You gotta teach them that stuff roll off your back, because otherwise they'll just get on your nerves. Yeah. I love everybody. At least I try to. I spent a lot of time angry for other reasons, and a simple thing such as here's not my thought now, but what it was before, fairly recently, within like 10 years or whatever. Maybe it would have been better had I been born hearing without battery. Now I realize that's not really the case. I couldn't have controlled that anyway. But if you're different and it's very obvious, your target. For those that are experiencing it, whether as a kid now or adult, whatever, you need to be the way that you are for whatever reason. I cannot tell you why, because I'm a three-dimensional being, meaning physical body here, that can only go in one direction in time. I tell various individual friends and acquaintances, I have very few friends, a lot more acquaintances, because quality control, quality over quantity. I am a non-linear spirit or soul. I prefer the word soul, in a linear body, meaning this meat bag that stands before you. It basically means most people first language is English. Me, not so much, because I don't know about you, but it wasn't until the age of 3 I was diagnosed, or I was able to be diagnosed with hearing loss. Energy is my first language. Hearing, that took a lot of speech therapy. I only grimace because of the annoyances on that, and I've talked about it in the previous video. And if I find it and have the need to start a new playlist, I will do that. But there's all sorts of nuances that you got to think about. I'll give you an example here. Crowd is always going to be white noise. Can't really control it. I would love to, believe me, I would take the universal remote, which, by the way, does not come out with the placenta. For those that are wondering about this, mother, half jokingly, of course, but no, you don't come out with a universal remote where, like in Click, where you can do picture-in-picture, closed captioning. I know I'm being a little theatrical on that, but that would be nice. So what usually happens is I have to put myself in a position where I can hear them in a smaller group setting because I don't want to go into the whole cycle of, are you listening? Can you hear me? Those are two different questions. I like to put the word actively in front of listening because, we all have the default setting where we're going throughout our day. We're not paying attention to anything except for the foreground. European folks got it easy. It's a little bit more ingrained for me because even with these hearing aids where I can hear forward and back, I focus forward because that's what I can see. That's my range of, I want to pay attention to what's in front of me, not so much what's behind me because, well, unless you're a mother, this is the joke, by the way, so if you're taking this too seriously, lighten up. I don't have eyes and ears in the back of my head. That intuition, that's a whole different can of worms. Which you want to open, fine. I'm just trying to open up a discussion line. So we talked about the sound, white noise, background control. Another thing that could be helpful, and this is the individual case difference. Young folk drive me crazy on this one here. You say the same thing as you said, like, did you hear me? Like, no. Did you hear me? No. And you'll do it a third time, verbatim almost. Like, okay, let me get this into your skull here. If we weren't actively listening, which means we perceived you, meaning heard some level of communication, but we can't decipher enough to ask the thorough question, rephrase it, or ask this question, which would be awesome if more people would ask this question, because I ask this quite a bit, because my non-linear brain, where did you lose me in that statement? Because with me, it's like one or two things in a sentence or a concept, and then once I get it, it's like click, click, click. Eureka, that's what you're saying. That's your concept. I seriously believe that students from middle school up to high school, all the way, middle school to graduation of high school, need to go through some sort of, and I don't want to use this word because it's the meaning, at least for me, disability training. And for the more commonality, I will say this. Deaf, because despite what other people think, being deaf is a whole different animal. You're isolated because you don't hear sound, whatever degree challenge. Mobile, now that could be crutches, or that could be inability to control your limb, for that matter. and then speech or lack of speech, cover these. I thoroughly believe at least cover these three areas experiencing these levels. Now I know when I was in middle school, whatever you want to call it, fine, 1 through 8th grade, one of those in gym, we would have various activities that we would play tennis, but we would play or table tennis, sorry, with in a wheel and a chair, a wheelchair, or we would play basketball with only one eye because it would be taped out, so you would understand the different disabilities. These are not disabilities, these are challenges. The difference is the mindset. If you're saying this is a disability, you're basically admitting defeat, saying you can't learn. And if you're saying that, you need to be careful about what you're saying, because I am two of the most powerful words in the English language. Because you almost always, whatever you say after it, whether it's you or your little angel or your devil inside your head, whatever happens after that becomes your reality. And I know this through personal experience. So if you want to call me a liar, great. But don't call me a liar until you apply it. Don't shoot the messenger until you receive the message and decoded it and applied it to your life. Because for the longest time, I really hated being deaf. I mean, now I understand to some degree how it's helped me, because I'm between two different worlds, so I can translate how I perceive things and then get it from the other person's perspective. It's just a matter of, I don't want to call it a language barrier, it's a frequency barrier. It seems like I'm either here, eye level or above it, and then the people that I'm around. And by the way, before I continue to talk, surround yourself with positive people. You're around 5 positive people, you're going to be positive. Surround yourself with about 5 assholes, you're going to be the 6th asshole. You become your environment. And that's very important, because then you choose who you want to be. I think that's it for today. I loved you all, but I can't learn it for you. Just because you're deaf or whatever you got doesn't mean you're not important. Doesn't mean you can't contribute to something. Once again, I love you all. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.